From serving lady to chairwoman, a journey to overcome prejudice and rebirth a family empire. Elena used to be a proud woman with a remarkable achievement. At the age of 27, she founded and sold a tech company for $300 million, a feat not everyone has achieved. But Elena has never liked the spotlight or flashy compliments. She chose a more casual life, working at Bella's Bistro, her aunt's small restaurant, as a way to bond with her family and observe life from the most authentic perspective. During an afternoon at the restaurant, David walks into the same group of friends. He is an elegant, intelligent man with a sense of humor that makes Elena unable to help but pay attention. Their love started with small stories during breaks between shifts and gradually became a deeper relationship. David, despite coming from a wealthy and powerful family, has always appreciated Elena's sincerity, independence, and intelligence. After a year of dating, they decided to get married, keeping it a secret from David's family while he completed his MBA. David once told Elena that his family, especially his parents, Robert and Olivia Anderson, attach great importance to lineage and social status. They're the kind of people who don't easily accept someone if they don't fit their norms, he admits late one night as they sit together. Elena knows that it can be a challenge, but she doesn't let that stop their love. As the time for the marriage announcement approached, David still hoped that his parents could see Elena as she really was, rather than superficial prejudices. But deep down, Elena understands that reality may be far from hope. On the day they debuted the Anderson family, Elena prepared everything as best she could. She wears a simple but elegant dress, trying to make a good impression. But as soon as she entered the magnificent mansion, she felt the cold gaze of Olivia, who stood in the large lobby in a perfect Chanel outfit. Her smile was as thin as a piece of paper, unable to hide her malicious scrutiny. "Why didn't you say it sooner?" Olivia asked David in a cold voice. "Someone like her?" Mr. Robert, although he did not look directly at Elena, did not hide his contempt. "You work as a waiter, don't you?" he asked, his eyes still glued to the phone screen. David tries to explain that Elena is not just working at the restaurant, she is independent and has an extraordinary will. But each of his words only made the atmosphere more tense. Olivia bluntly declared that a waitress could not be worthy of the Anderson family, while Robert went so far as to offer to pay Elena to leave David's life. Elena kept silent, just observing. She had anticipated these things in advance, but the blatant contempt and insults still hurt her. However, she didn't react immediately, because she knew she was holding a stronger card than any of their words. And so dinner became the beginning of an unbalanced confrontation, at least as the Andersons thought. But they didn't know that the woman they despised was the one who held the fate of the whole clan in their hands. The meeting at the Anderson mansion is not only a test for the love between Elena and David, but also a clear demonstration of how the Anderson family values people by appearances. Olivia and Robert Anderson did not hesitate to show their contempt for Elena. Olivia ridiculed her profession, while Robert directly offered to pay $5 million for Elena to leave David, as if she was just a commodity that could be bought. Elena kept her composure, not letting the insult make her lose her composure. She just observed, listened, and smiled softly, even though there was a storm of emotions inside. David, in anger and frustration, tried to protect his wife, but all his justifications were dismissed by his family. "She's just taking advantage of you," Robert insisted. "What can a waitress do but target this family's property?" No one in the Anderson family could have imagined that the woman they were despising would be the one who owned their future. In the face of cold eyes and harsh words, Elena simply smiled and said, "Thank you for this wonderful evening. I'll think about your suggestions." She did not refute nor argue, because she understood that they were not worth her wasting any more words. But before leaving, Elena left a statement that caught Robert's attention. "Well, about your plan to acquire Pacific Heights properties, I think you should reconsider. There may be some unexpected changes." That sentence confused Mr. Robert. How did a waitress know about the most important deal in his company's history? The truth is, during her time working at her aunt's restaurant, Elena has been quietly implementing a big plan. Through anonymous deals and intermediary firms, she acquired a majority stake in Anderson Enterprises without anyone knowing. She is not only an ordinary waitress as they think, but also an ambitious strategic investor. Elena used to keep this secret from David because she wanted his family to show their true selves without being dominated by fame or money. And now she has the answer. The Anderson family, with all their wealth and power, revealed their true nature: arrogant, selfish, and disrespectful of others if they did not conform to their social standards. The next day, Elena walked into the meeting room of the Anderson Enterprises board. This time not as a servant, but as CEO of Golden Dawn Holdings, the company's largest shareholder. When she announced that she owned a 52% stake in Anderson Enterprises, the whole room was in shock. Olivia and Robert couldn't believe their ears. The Anderson family had completely misjudged the woman they had once despised. Elena is not only strong enough to face them, but also powerful enough to completely change the world they once proudly built. And with this step, she officially entered the next main idea, the great reform she had been preparing for a long time. The next day, Elena appears at the Anderson Enterprises headquarters in a completely different appearance. It was no longer a modest service dress or a humble appearance from the night before. This time, she walked in with the confidence of a real power holder. With documents in hand and a team of lawyers with her, Elena is ready to face those who have despised her. In the meeting room, Robert and Olivia Anderson had little idea that the meeting that day would change their family's fortunes forever. When Elena walked in, Olivia raised her eyebrows contemptuously. "What are you doing here? This is not a place for people like you." A few board members laughed, thinking that Elena was simply lost or part of the service team. Elena didn't answer right away. Instead, she casually walked to the head of the conference table, where Mr. Robert usually sitted, and put down the briefcase. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Elena, CEO of Golden Dawn Holdings, and I'm here as the largest shareholder of Anderson Enterprises." The room fell into a deadly silence. Robert stood up, his eyes red with anger. "What are you talking about? Is this a joke?" Elena opened the briefcase and took out the papers proving her ownership. 3 months ago, through intermediary companies, I acquired 52% of this company's shares. All transactions were legal and approved by him without even realizing it. I believe this is the time for a comprehensive restructuring of Anderson Enterprises. Robert's anger turned to confusion, while Olivia was almost speechless. "Impossible. We've controlled this company for 3 generations," she shouted. "My grandparents' control is gone," Elena said, her voice calm but sharp. "From today, the company will be run under a new philosophy. Anderson Enterprises has been operating for far too long on its own interests, excluding those who don't conform to the grandparents' standards. That will change." Elena presented her plan to the board of directors to transform the company into a community-focused organization. The plan includes investing in community development projects, sharing profits with employees, and supporting small businesses that have been squeezed by the company. "I didn't do this to get revenge," Elena said, her eyes fixed on Robert and Olivia. "I do this to correct the mistakes that the company has made. But don't think I'm easy to ignore. The two have 2 choices: leave the company with a generous package of benefits, or face a full-blown financial investigation where shady behaviors will come to light." The change in Robert's face showed that he understood which option was costly. After a tense discussion with a lawyer, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson were forced to sign a resignation letter. "You've won, but don't think we're going to forget about it," Robert said as he left the room. Elena didn't respond. She didn't need to explain or retaliate. Her seizure of power was the clearest answer. With the departure of Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, the reform phase began. Anderson Enterprises was officially renamed Phoenix Holdings, a symbol of revival and regeneration. Elena not only changed the way the company operates, but also created an organization that everyone can be proud of, from employees to customers. She has transformed a company run by arrogance into a leader with kindness and vision. And so, the confrontation ended, opening a new chapter for Phoenix Holdings, a chapter of change and meaning. After taking control of Anderson Enterprises and changing its name to Phoenix Holdings, Elena embarked on the reform plan she had been preparing for a long time. Her changes are not merely about the company structure, but also about the operating philosophy and core values. Elena began by reviewing all the projects that were being implemented, eliminating the nefarious deals that the Anderson family had covered up. She prioritizes investing in community development projects, supporting small businesses that were previously squeezed by the company. In addition, Phoenix Holdings implements a profit-sharing program with employees, giving them a sense of respect and appreciation. These changes not only improve business performance, but also create a whole new corporate image, a community-based, transparent, and ethical organization. The rapid and drastic transformation surprised many, especially when they realized that the head of the company had been looked down upon by the Anderson family just because of his service profession. Meanwhile, Robert and Olivia Anderson faced a complete collapse of their social image. With leaving the company amid scandal, they moved to Europe to avoid scrutiny. They told acquaintances that they had sold the company as part of their retirement plans, but the truth was clear. They had been overcome by the same waitress they despised. Elena didn't stop there. She continues to work hard, not only to take Phoenix Holdings further, but also to achieve its greatest goal, to demonstrate that true value lies in how people are treated, not status or assets. With Phoenix Holdings, Elena has not only rebuilt a company, but also built a new symbol of what it means to be fair and humane. Phoenix Holdings has gradually become a symbol of change and rebirth. Under Elena's leadership, the company has not only recovered from reputational losses, but also grown stronger than ever. Community investment projects, profit-sharing policies, and small business support programs bring respect and trust from society. Phoenix Holdings is no longer a for-profit corporation, but a beloved organization where each employee feels an integral part of it. Elena still maintains a simple working style. Although she holds a huge fortune and power, she does not let it change her human nature. One day, she returns to Bella's Bistro, where she used to work as a waiter. Elena wore her familiar apron, helping her aunt serve the table like in the old days. An elderly customer complained that his soup wasn't as hot as he wanted. Elena replied softly, "I'm very sorry for that, sir. I'll change it to another one right away." She did not reveal that she was the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, simply playing the role of a caring servant. As she walked out of the restaurant that day, Elena smiled. She understood more than ever that a person's worth is not in the work they do, the clothes they wear, or the money they own. But true value is measured by how they treat others, especially those they think can't benefit them. The Anderson family is no longer present in her and David's lives. Although they still live in Europe, they try to rebuild their reputation by painting the story that selling the company was their decision. Elena didn't care. She proved what she needed to prove, not only to them, but to herself. Elena's service uniform now hangs solemnly in her office at Phoenix Holdings, not as a symbol of humility, but as a reminder that true power lies in knowing who you are and your worth, even if others don't realize it. Elena has not only changed a company, but also conveyed a profound lesson about self-esteem, fairness, and how people can overcome prejudice to make a difference. Phoenix Holdings is a symbol of that philosophy, and Elena is a vivid demonstration that true values always transcend all appearances. Phoenix Holdings is not only a symbol of innovation, but also a testament to Elena's philosophy of life. The true value is not in wealth or status, but in the way people treat each other. After taking control of the group, Elena implemented a series of groundbreaking reforms, transforming a company that once relied on selfishness and exploitation into an organization that respects human values and community. The changes she made included programs that support small businesses, investments in community development, and especially a profit-sharing policy with employees. These initiatives not only help Phoenix Holdings restore its reputation, but also bring the company sustainable development. Under Elena's leadership, the group became a model for how a business can balance profits and social responsibility. Despite her success, Elena has never forgotten her origins. The apron served at Bella's bistro still hangs in her office as a reminder that the real value is not in the profession or appearance, but in the way each person treats others. For Elena, her days of service are not only part of the plan, but also an opportunity for her to learn about humility, patience, and how to face prejudice. The Anderson family, who once despised her, were now only a memory of a time when arrogance reigned. They left their homeland, carrying with them the humiliation and trying to paint the story of selling the company for retirement. Elena didn't bother with them anymore. She understands that the greatest victory is not revenge, but building a life to be proud of and proving her worth through action. Elena's story is not only about a woman who overcomes prejudice, but also a lesson for anyone who has ever been underestimated. With Phoenix Holdings, she is not only changing a company, but also changing the way she sees human values, affirming that kindness and respect will always prevail.